lot of bad dreams and other things, restless sleep, etc., it definitely will help them to improve their sleep, and your programming in the mind is positive all throughout the night. So next day you get up with a lot of energy. In association with this, I have actually introduced one thing called appreciation slip in my trainings. How often do you appreciate others in life? Just for appreciating, not for getting work done by them. Right? That's manipulation. Okay. Not for manipulation, but for the sheer joy of I appreciate you for this. When I find something nice, something out of the way, something good, great going, I appreciate you. How often have you appreciated your wife's cooking? Very rare. How often have you criticized? If you have to find a ratio between criticizing and appreciating, what is it? Most of the time it's 99:1. Right? Criticizing and appreciating. So nobody needs to teach you how to criticize. Whereas people need to teach you to appreciate. Go on. So, how often have you criticized? How often have you appreciated? When you look at it, most of the time criticism comes naturally to us, whereas appreciation comes very rarely, or it's difficult. You have to dig really deep into yourself in order to do that. It doesn't come as a habit. Suppose you start appreciating people. What do you think will happen? Okay, so like you make the atmosphere positive, you make people happy, things like that. In addition, they start appreciating others, right? So you are actually starting a positive wave of appreciation. On the other side, when you get angry with somebody, you pass on your bad mood to somebody, you are triggering a bad wave of anger, right? Okay. Now without going far into that, what is the benefit for you when you appreciate others?
I enjoy the happiness.
You enjoy the happiness of appreciating somebody. In fact, without spending a fight, without spending any effort, if you can make somebody else happy, why don't you make it? Right? So if you can make somebody's day, like somebody comes and says, some of the doctors say your shirt is excellent, you're looking nice on it. In fact, one of my friends told me, when I told a classmate, a lady, the saree is very nice. Then after that he called me and said, don't say that. I said, why? You always say, the saree looks nice on you. Is there a difference?
Yes.
Right. So instead of merely saying, saree is nice, you say the saree looks nice on you, that makes the other person also feel happier. So what do you lose in that?
Our family culture, business culture, we've never done it.
That's what I'm saying.
It becomes a little awkward to do it outside.
To start with, every good thing is awkward. That's what I'm saying. All the negative things have become very easy. All the negative things have become very easy. Have you ever worried about shouting somebody in the public? In front of so many people? Is it not awkward? Right? You shout out to your wife and child for coming late or doing something in front of 10 other people. How do they feel? You don't even worry about that. To make somebody else unhappy, you don't think it's awkward, you think it's quite natural. Whereas to make somebody else happy, and you also feel happy in the process, you think it looks awkward. So that means something is drastically wrong with our culture.
We are just evolving. We are just
So against, they have to go into the concept. Our concepts are wrong. Context have changed. We need to change the content. So leave alone what the other person gets. I said you can make somebody else's day. Like the entire day somebody is going to be happy with a lot of energy and productivity, and in turn he may pass on that happiness to many other people. In fact, there are two books I always recommend in my training programs. One is Who Moved My Cheese, which talks about change. Other one is Fish, about the attitude to the organizational experiences. Fish. One is Who Moved My Cheese, which talks about change, how things change, and if you are not prepared for change, you are caught. Another one is Fish. In fact, in US and a lot of European countries, they have a placard saying that ours is a fish organization. Like making somebody's, there are only 4 basic principles that are talked about. Like somebody said, if you're talking about stress management, the antidote to stress and boredom is not rest. So I am tired, I am bored, so I want to go on a holiday for 5 days, and when I come back, do I feel relaxed? That means you are not enjoying. So the antidote to stress and boredom is not rest, but wholeheartedness. If you do whatever you are doing wholeheartedly, then you don't need a day's rest.
whiskey, sir. Whiskey.
Whiskey. That's your choice. Right? Cheese, பாலாடை கட்டி. In fact, தமிழ்ல வந்து என்னுடைய பாலாடை கட்டி நகர்த்தியது யாருன்னு தமிழ்லையும் மொழிபெயர்த்திருக்காங்க. சரியா? எல்லா செல்ஃப் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட் புக்கையும் தமிழ்ல தப்பு தவறுமா மொழிபெயர்த்து கொலை பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஒரிஜினல் இங்கிலீஷ் படிக்க முடிஞ்சா கஷ்டம் தமிழ்ல படிக்கிறது. இங்கிலீஷ் தெரியாதுன்னா தமிழ்ல படிச்சு எங்கேயோ ஒரு இடத்துல ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். Who Moved My Cheese is the first book that's talking about change. The other one is like Fish. So it's about a famous fish market in Washington, Seattle. Okay, so there, if you go there, it doesn't look like a fish market. In fact, all of you would have gone through school, and if there is a lot of noise, the teacher will come and say, is this a class or a fish market? Right? When something is noisy, unacceptable, they use the term. Whereas that fish market, like people really enjoy. People working there, people who are going there to make business, they enjoy. So, these principles are taken from there and then converted book, Fish. So where were we? Okay, Ashok. Antidote for stress, right. So, stress again, it's external or internal? Internal. See, what one person thinks as encouraging or like it's rewarding for another person may be stress. So it's the way you perceive it. So if you need to manage, you need to change your perception, that's all. Like how much you want to expand business. Some people are satisfied with one store, some people are wanting to expand into chain of things, right? Even hospitals, they have chain of hospitals. Somebody is happy to have a clinic. So it all depends upon how much you want to do, what you want to do, and how much you enjoy. So if it gives you happiness, do it. If it doesn't give you happiness, but for the sake of something else if you're doing, then it becomes a stress. That's my ultimate point about stress, because stress, if you have to talk, it goes on for a lot of time. So basically 2 things. One is relaxation, exercises. And what I gave you as a simple exercise like observing your breath, that itself gives you relaxation. Then you can go into probably regular relaxation exercises like tightening your muscles and then relaxing it. Then next level we go deeper into hypnosis and other things, yoga, meditation. All these things are like the first aid. Like for fever you give Prozac, even without knowing what kind of fever it is, just to reduce fever. Like that, the first aid of stress management, these are all the things. But the ultimate stress management is knowing the root cause, what causes you stress. Like the famous Tiruppural, Noi Nadi, Noi Mudal Nadi, Adu Kanikku Vai Nadi, Vai Prasaya. Right? And somebody says it's not a Tiruppural on medicine, but it's a management principle as well. Like Noi Nadi, you analyze the problem. Noi Mudal Nadi, analyze the root cause. Adu Kanikku Vai Nadi, what are all the options available to you? Vayuka, Sayam. So finally you select one option and then put that into action. So that's in management principle as well. Right? So you have to identify what causes you stress and then how to change that. You need to work on that. So probably for stress management we may have to need a one-day workshop, or sometimes I conduct even 6 Sundays continuously for that over a period of time, because it needs a lot of course corrections and then being on it on a regular way. Like one day probably you can, one lecture, 1 hour you can bring some aha experiences and some awareness. Okay, I need to change, I need to probably address these issues. But in order to really work on that over a period of time, you need probably a long-term courses. Okay, I think time is up. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Hope you enjoyed this.
Thank you, Doctor.
கொண்டு வருவது என்று ஆரம்பித்து அந்த குடும்பத்தினால் ஏற்படும் சிக்கலை தீர்ப்பதற்கு ஒரு மருத்துவரை அழைத்து இந்த அருமையான மாநாட்டை முடித்துள்ளோம். இதுவும் வேணும் அதுவும் வேணும் ஆசையாக இருக்குது. ரெண்டையும் எப்படி நம்ம ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுறது, அதுதான் இன்னைக்கு இந்த 2 நாள் செஷனில் நம்ம லேர்ன் பண்ணிக்கிறது. இந்த அருமையான ஒரு வாய்ப்பை ஏற்படுத்துவதற்கு எனக்கு வாய்ப்பளித்த உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் எனது மனமார்ந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். நீங்கள் அனைவரும் ஆர்வமாக பங்கெடுத்து இதன் வழியாக பல நல்ல செய்திகளை உங்கள் செவி வழியாகவும் மனது வழியாகவும் எடுத்துக்கொண்டு இதை அனுபவத்தில் பயன்படுத்தி நல்ல தொழில் வளம் பெறவும் சந்தோஷத்தை வாழ்க்கையில் மிகவும் அதிகமாக ருசிக்க வேண்டுமாய் கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
ஒரு 5 நண்பர்களுக்கும் பேசும்படி திரு வெள்ளையன் அவர்களை அழைக்கின்றேன்.
Session with very knowledgeable speakers. There's been actually a lot of content that I have absorbed, and probably I'm just going to, for lack of time, we're going to touch upon 1 or 2 points from each session. Not just our strengths alone which matter, but also to understand what we lack and kind of add resources to that. That was the key takeaway. And then communicating well with the family ahead of time, a couple of years before you start doing the transition, is critical for a successful transition of a family business. Mr. Ravi shared a lot of experience on how he transformed his organization from a one-man-centric organization to a corporate organization where he has a team of 5,000 people who help him in growing the organization. So the key takeaway there has been the team spirit, how we have to build it among our team if the organization has to grow. Lead by delegation. See, this actually struck me when he said, why it's important to delegate. So actually I was talking with Mr. Velesh yesterday night, and we were just trying to cost the time per hour for ourselves. And you would be surprised, my time cost is actually working out to about 14,000 rupees an hour. When I take my earning potential for the year divided by the number of working hours, it's taking 14,000 rupees an hour of my organization. My organization is losing 14,000 rupees an hour if I do some work. So I should not actually be I should actually be delegating more of non-critical things to my organization. That has been the learning. So I think we all need to develop a lot of managers below us, a lot of support staff below us who can take a lot of our routine work and focus more on looking at the future. Like one of the speakers said, a CEO or a leader should spend 80% of his time thinking about the future and only 20% in DRM activities. I think that's a very vital takeaway from Ravi. And Shukumar Srinivasan was a great example. A person who has scaled up his organization from about 1 crore of a rupee to 3,000 crores. Great learning. The key takeaway from there was for us to understand why we should scale, how to scale, and why every individual needs to decide what he needs to scale. It is not that each of us have to scale in terms of size or turnover, but why we want to scale, and that's very individualized. So let's not try to copy others, because we will definitely fail, because each of us have our own strengths. So we need to scale based on our strengths and based on our individual aspirations rather than trying to emulate somebody else. I don't want to scale just because my brother has scaled or one of my friends has scaled up a business. If I can scale out of my own desire and aspiration, I have to do that. And ownership is very critical during the scaling process. So that was one of the takeaways. And the key element of this, Mr. Srinivasan had stuck to what he knows the best, which is for the piping industry. And I think each of us have our own strengths, and when we scale, probably we need to be very cautious to grow within our own industry space or what we are good at. So that was a very good takeaway. And the last takeaway which I like, in spite of being so successful, he said a statement: have some philosophical angle to life. Have a slight separation between you and the business, because that will help you cut away from the business if required. So you don't have an emotional baggage towards business. Because actually that hit me hard, I think they're all too attached, emotionally strained, and there's a lot of learning. One of the key learnings that I felt was that, especially in the IT industry, we don't even care about how we dress. Well, the importance of dressing and personal hygiene was a key takeaway for me from him. And the other thing was saying no and giving a closing time on your appointment. When you give an appointment to somebody, you tell them it's between 9:30 to 10:30 rather than just saying let's meet at 9:30, because that way it helps you manage your time very well. Nitin was very inspiring, and a lot of takeaways from Nitin. In fact, my notes runs into about 4 pages. I just want to tell only 2 things there. Again, Nitin was a professional who scaled up a lot of businesses, moved on from one business to another. The key takeaway from him is have an emotional disengagement from business for successfully running the business. The moment you have an emotional detachment, you're able to view things from different perspectives, and something is not working well in your business, or when you have to take hard decisions on your business, like parting ways with the person, or parting ways with the product. So that was very, very interesting takeaway from him. And another key thing is, again, what Srinivasan said: entrepreneurs should not do anything what they do not know. And if they want to do it in that area, better go get the expertise or learn the expertise before you do it. Because many a time we fail because we find an area to be very interesting, we jump into it without knowing much about it. So that was a very good, very nice takeaway from Nitin. Of course, Vailesh, who also happens to be my colleague, and I keep interacting with him every day, shared a very lot of interesting thoughts. One key thing that he delivered: be market-centric or customer-centric rather than being person-centric. Because I felt that's very critical in a changing market. We all need to understand what the market needs rather than what we can deliver. And the people-first policy, I think a lot of successful organizations are transforming to a people-based organization today. I think it's much easier to start it when we are very small, and if we can build a culture of people-centric organization, I think that will help us scale reasonably faster. Or your behavior, I think that's very, very critical. But I think it's a little bit of a challenge to practice that, but some of you need to get into that more. Another friend whom I know for many years, shared very interesting insights of why financial statements are important for running our day-to-day business. The key takeaway was looking at the trial balance. To be very honest, I have personally even not looked at our own trial balance even once a year. It is just one of our finance managers or the auditors present the statement, and then you sign it off. So I think it's very critical. Again, another emphasize the fact: don't have emotional attachment when you read financial statement. Be objective about it. Another key takeaway from Nadan was financial cycles and how they impact our businesses. That was very interesting. And I wish I actually really thank for Nadan for sharing the 12 mantras of business. I think it makes a lot of sense to irrespective of what business are we in. with Arunagiri. Thanks for sharing a lot of your insights and knowledge. You seem to have so much of energy. I'm surprised how a person can have so much of energy. The 10x growth strategy was really very eye-opening, like making everybody in the organization sell. It was a great concept. I'm sure if we can effectively implement it, we are going to see the 10x that he's talking about. I'm just looking forward to training my own people across the entire organization into having at least a customer-centric attitude, even if they don't sell, but how should they be customer-centric? Thank you, Arunagiri, for all that. Insights into what all technologies construction industry can use. It was very, you've given us a macro picture of what all is possible. I'm sure we will need to dwell into each of those areas, and I'm sure each of us can pick up at least a couple of things and start applying technology to our space of work to